Welcome back to Hot Raider Blog. Week 1, we kick off today with Chiefs versus the Patriots. So Patriots still have a really good offense. Hopefully, it sounds like they will have Rob Gronkowski back for the Patriots. Tom Brady is very happy about that. Now he has another big target. Even though they didn't have Gronkowski, they still won the Super Bowl last year. Very impressive for their team. The Chiefs, though, a big loss on the defensive side to Poe, who even threw a touchdown last year against the Denver Broncos. He was a really great player, and they'll miss him. But on the Patriot defensive side, they have big losses and big gains. They lost Logan Ryan, but they also gained Stephen Gilmore and Coney Ely, which are very great games for the Patriots. And even on the offensive side, they are improving while picking up Brandon Cooks and Dwayne Allen. Great signs. I think they should have a disability. They're so good. But the Chiefs on the offensive side, Alex Smith now has competition for quarterback with, the Chiefs use their 10th overall draft pick for Patrick Mahomes II. Very smart decision for the Chiefs as they lose Nick Foles and Kevin Hogan. He is a very nice pickup. He could be starting next year, depends on how well Alex Smith plays this year, but I'm still going with the Patriots. Now the Bills versus the Jets. Jets had a very bad year last year, but they look better this year. They pick up Josh McCown, and he has looked very good this preseason. He's just been hitting his guy, and I think he should get starter and Christian Hackenberg as backup. Yeah, and so he looks really good, but they did lose Brandon Marshall, which was a hard loss for them, who had a great year last year with the Jets, and that was a big loss for the Jets. On the Bills side, they still have a really good running game with Carlos Williams and LaShawn McCoy. They look very pretty decent this year. I wouldn't bet too much on them that they're going to be that good, but I think they'll still have a decent year. But the Jets still, their defense, it's decent, but I don't think it's enough to hold back the Bills, so I'm going the Bills. Now Falcons Bears. I think this is a pretty obvious game. The Bears still just don't look that good. They've been looking for quarterbacks, got rid of Jay Cutler, but they draft Mitchell Trubisky, and then they pick up Mike Glennon, but it sounds like Mike Glennon will start for them against the Falcons. But still, it's going to be a very rough game for the Bears. Falcons went to the Super Bowl last year. They still look great. Defense even picking up Poe, the loss from Kansas City, and the Falcons just look like the team to go with. Matt Ryan still has the big targets, Julio Jones and Mohamed Sanu, whereas the Bears defense is still building. Mike Glennon, he's a great quarterback. He still has Cameron Meredith to hit, but it's not enough to break down the Falcons, so I'm going Atlanta. Now, Ravens-Bengals, a rivalry game, but sad news for the Ravens. Joe Flacco will not be playing for the first 5 to 6 games. That's a big disappointment for the Ravens. They were hoping to possibly get second place, but with that loss, it's going to be very hard for them. But it sounds like they'll put in Ryan Mallett as their quarterback, but this Bengals defense still sure does look good. Even after a bad season last year, they look really good this year, and I think they can put themselves together, and AJ Green will hopefully be there to help Andy Dalton, and this defense still is on the move, and I think they'll have a pretty good year this year compared to last year. But the Ravens defense, still they got Terrell Suggs. They still have some big obstacles that the Bengals will have to move around, but I'm going Bengals with the trouble with they don't have that good of a running back. And without Joe Flacco, it's going to be very hard for them. So I'm going Cincinnati. Now, Steelers, Browns. So Browns, as we all know, they had a very bad year last year. They only won one game, 1-15. But a bad move, I think, on their part was to get rid of RG3. He's still a great player, and he even put the Steelers into overtime last year when he started. So I think that was a bad move, but still they still have Cody Kessler, and their defense they use their number 1 overall pick for Myles Garrett, the defensive end of Texas A&M. He hopefully will start this week, but the Steelers still, with their great offense, Le'Veon Bell, as far as I know, will not be playing. He never really showed up for training camp or anything. So James Conner, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, will be running for them, who actually does not look bad at all. I think they could still put their game on him. And then, of course, you have Antonio Brown, who had 12 touchdowns last year, led the NFL. So I think I'm still going to go Pittsburgh. Now, Cardinals, Lions. Cardinals, Blaine Gabbert looked really sharp in preseason. He could compete with Carson Palmer, but as far as I know, Carson Palmer will still start. Lions, they look pretty good still. Matthew Stafford still has Golden Tate, and he still has some big targets. On defensive side, they do lose Laken Tomlinson, which is kind of a bummer, but it's okay because they pick up DJ Hayden, who will help them in the backfield to stop the huge plays. But this Cardinal team, David Johnson, he had a breakout year last year. Great playing. He did a great job. And their defense, still not terrible though. But, I mean, with the pickup of Carlos Dansby, and on the offense too, the pickup of Phil Dawson, the 19 year in the NFL, he is just a great kicker, and he'll help them on long field goals when they need them, whereas Cantizaro missed many game chance winning games. So I think I'm still going to stick with the Cardinals. I think Lions still have a little bit of time, so I'm going to go with the Cardinals. Now, Jaguars, Texans. Texans quarterback is still questionable. Deshaun Watson did not look hot at all, but so Tom Savage will possibly have the starting job still with Brandon Weeden though to compete with him. This Jaguars defense, I think everybody underrates this team. They look like they are going to have a really good season. They pick up Leonard Fournette and Today Westbrook, which are great pickups to help Blake Bortles for the run game and for his passing game. Still with Marquise Lee, but they did lose Julius Thomas, which is a big hit on their offense. He had a great year last year, and they're going to miss him, but their defense still will hold. I think they could hold up against the Texans. If Jalen Ramsey can get on DeAndre Hopkins, I think they could pull this one off, and I think they will, even with the struggle for quarterback as they gave up Brock Osweiler. So I'm going with the Jaguars. Buccaneers, Dolphins. This is going to be a really close game. Both teams are like at the same level, but the Dolphins have a couple nice pickups with Lawrence Timmons they picked up from the Steelers, and to help Ryan Tannehill like when he got hurt. Even though Matt Moore is a good quarterback, now they can rely on used to be starter Jay Cutler as they picked up in the offseason. He's a nice pickup. He can make Ryan Tannehill feel a little more comfortable, and Matt Moore also. But this Buccaneer team, Jameis Winston has really led his team from bad years, and I think also they underrate the Buccaneers. Their defensive line is improving, and the defensive backs, they're really putting their team and giving some effort. I would like to see Vernon Hargreaves, the third drafted last year, on the defensive backside for the Buccaneers, but I don't know if that will happen. But on the Dolphins side, the Buccaneers will have trouble with the run game with Doug Martin, who had a really bad year last year. But Jacquizz Rodgers was not bad last year, but they'll struggle facing up against Ndamukong Suh and Lawrence Timmons, which are great, and Cameron Wake. They have 3 great defensive linemen, and they will really help play this team. But I think Dolphins have the better advantage, but I think it's going to be a very close game. Now, Raiders-Titans, the game we've been waiting for. This game is going to be close, but like always, I'm going with the Raiders. Derek Carr in preseason, even though it doesn't matter that much, he showed himself that he could run the job still. With a rating of 128.8, he did a fantastic job. Marshawn Lynch is going to be the beast mode this year. He looked very good in preseason, just taking everybody with him, and that will really help their offense. And with the big loss of Latavius Murray. But their offense still, Derek Carr with all his big targets again, Seth Roberts, Crabtree, and Cooper. They're all going to help Derek Carr, and their offense is still going to be great. Donald Penn comes back to the Raiders after protesting on his contract. The Titans side, the run game is really good, but the Raiders defense, I think Ken Norton Jr. is doing a great job by picking up young guys like Garyon Conley, Obi Melifonwu, Eddie Vonderos. He is doing a great job on that, even in just free agents, picking up Jelani Jenkins. He looks really good, and I think that their defense will not be 26 in the league. I think they will be another great defense again. The Titans side, they pick up Corey Davis, wide receiver of Western Michigan. He is going to be a threat, but I think with Reggie Nelson, who had 5 picks last year, I think we can contain him, and he's just a rookie. You can't expect much from rookies, so I'm still going with the Raiders. Now, Eagles-Redskins. Redskins, everybody is thinking that they're going to do a terrible job this year. I don't think so. Even though with the loss of Deshaun Jackson to the Buccaneers, they still pick up Terrell Pryor Sr. from the Browns, which is a nice replacement. Still not as good as the great Deshaun Jackson, but he still will hold up their offense. And they had one of the top 5 offenses last year, and in passing, they had a great year last year. Kirk Cousins re-signs with them, so I think they have a bright future on the offensive side. Whereas on the defensive side, they're still struggling. Preston Smith hopefully will start for them after a pretty rough year last year. Hopefully he can pick up his momentum and come back for them and help them out. Whereas on the Eagles side, Carson Wentz still, he's good, but he's not what I think they were expecting from him. But their defense still, but even though with the loss of Benny Logan, that was a hard hit. They wish they could have him back, but sometimes you just have to lose your great players. But the Eagles pick up Torrey Smith, which is a great pickup for Wentz. He can hit a big old veteran that's a great player, and I think they'll have a pretty good year this year, but I'm still going with Redskins to win the divisional. Now, Colts-Rams. Andrew Luck is still questionable if he will play this week, and so hopefully he will come, because Scott Tolzien really can't hold up the offense, and if Andrew Luck is not there, I think this growing Ram team will take them over, depending on if Luck is there or if Luck is not there. But Jared Goff, he's still decent. He's not great, but he's not terrible. But I don't think they should have wasted their number 1 pick on Goff, unless all of a sudden he makes a breakout year. So the Colts defense, they still lost Mike Adams. Their offense lost Dwayne Allen. So they still have some big losses. Rams have losses, but not as bad. So I think I'm going to go with the new LA Rams. Now, Seahawks-Packers in Green Bay. This is going to be a pretty good game, but in Lambeau Field, it is very hard to win there. Seahawks still, they don't look like they're going to have their hottest season this year. I think they'll get second in their division, but Their offense is still good. Russell Wilson, I think, can hold them together, and of course their defense is still great, like they always are. But the Packer offense, Aaron Rodgers gets a new great target, Martellus Bennett, but the running game is going to have a tough time with Ty Montgomery. He still proved himself, even though he was a tight end last year, 2 years ago. He's still. I mean, he's going to be decent, but they're still giving up. Eddie Lacy and James Starks. Those I don't think were the greatest moves. But actually, Eddie Lacy went to the Seahawks. Another running back for the Seahawks. I think they have a little bit too many running backs. They drafted I think about 3 or 4 last year, but still they get great guys, and I think their offense will be pretty good. Bennett though will hold up Ty Montgomery, I think, and Bobby Wagner will still hold them, but I think Green Bay still has the advantage on this game. Now, Panthers-Niners. Niners had a pretty bad year last year, but they pick up 2 quarterbacks, and Matt Barkley and Brian Hoyer. Those are nice pickups with the loss of Kaepernick and Gabbert. I don't know why they gave Gabbert away, but they did for some reason. But it's nice though and also they picked up Beathard, the rookie out of Iowa, so they still have some cushion on the quarterback. But still, just giving away receivers. Torrey Smith they gave up. That wasn't the greatest move on their part. So that's my take on the Niners side. Now on the Panthers side, even after a really bad year last year with only 6 wins, they look like they're going to have a comeback season. Cam Newton and all his team, they look like they're going to do a really good job this year. But they do lose Tegan Jr., which is a hard loss for their offense, is one of Cam Newton's favorite targets, and they lose Mike Tolbert. But their defense has really improved right now. They get back Kuechly, and they pick up Peppers, and they're just getting guys all over the board, and they're just having nice pickups, smart pickups, and I think they're going to have a comeback year this year. So I'm going with Carolina. I think Niners still have a couple years before they become a good team, so I'm going to go with Carolina. Now the Sunday night game, Giants-Cowboys. Now Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott is suspended for his first 6 games, which will really hurt them. But still, I think they'll still have a great year. I mean, they still have Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden, veterans that can take over the game, and I think they shouldn't feel down about that. The Giants' defense, though, Dak Prescott will have some trouble. He did not look too hot in this year. I would not put too many bets in Dak Prescott being that good this year. I think he'll still have a pretty good year, but not like his last year. Giants' defense, whereas they still have Landon Collins, still a great player. He can pick you all he can. And they're just going to have a great year this year. Eli Manning on the offense, Paul Perkins helping him on the running game. But the OBJ sprained his ankle in a home game against Cleveland in preseason. That's a big loss too. But they pick up Brandon Marshall, who also gets hurt in the offseason. So that is not good news for the Giants, though. But I think Cowboys will still have a good year. I think Giants will have a good year. But I think Giants will take the advantage on this one. Now, Saints-Vikings, Monday Night Football. Latavius Murray signs with the Vikings. Dalvin Cook is drafted with the Vikings. Vikings absolutely skyrocket their running game and they will join with Jerick McKinnon, which is another great running back. Whereas on the Saints side, Drew Brees still a great quarterback, and he gets Tegan Jr. from the Panthers, which is a nice addition for Drew Brees to have that extra cushion on his targets. And the Vikings defense, still one of the best in the leagues, with Eric Kendricks, with Xavier Rose, Dante Exum. They're all great defensive players. And even though the Saint offense, with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I think Vikings will still hold them. And Sam Bradford, who had a 99 rating last year, he still looks good, dependable. They're still waiting to see if Bridgewater will end up retiring or not. But right now they're just looking at the present and seeing what their games are going to look like. So I think I'm going to go with the Vikings on this one. Now last but definitely not least is the divisional Monday night game, Chargers versus the Broncos. Broncos pick up Jamal Charles, which is a nice pickup, but he has been hurt. If he is not hurt, then he's going to have a great year. But if he is hurt this year, I'd assume that he will leave at the end of this year. So hopefully he can prove himself and not get hurt with his ankle again. But their defense, still a great defense, but they do lose DeMarcus Ware, a big loss. But they fill in the gap in their offensive line with Ron Leary, a nice pickup. On the Chargers side, though, Philip Rivers, nice offense of game. He can still hit all his favorite targets, Antonio Gates, and he has a widespread variety of guys to pass to, which is great for him. And their defense, Joey Bosa, he will attack Simeon, make him a little nervous, get him out of the pocket, which will help Jason Verrett and his Charger defense to pick off some on Simeon, and will pick away Simeon. So I'm going to go with San Diego and their new LA team. Thank you for watching Hut Raider Block, and I'll see you next week.